Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Argentina versus Wales, Game 2, 2021. This is a much better performance for Argentina than last week. So Argentina has played Wales last week and it was a draw, 20-20, despite the fact that Argentina is pretty much playing their starting team, their full strength side against a Welsh seconds team, since the Lions tour is happening, and a draw last week was very disappointing for the Argentinian fans. And it wasn't completely Argentina's fault. There was a little bit of rustiness to the game. Argentina had a red card towards the end of the first half, so they had to play pretty much the most of the game with one player missing last week. And Sanchez kicking had been off, a bit rusty in the coming weeks. So also Argentina, he missed three penalties last week. And therefore, if Argentina had landed those penalties, it would have won the game last week, despite having only 14 players. So this week, Argentina really needed to make a statement, putting the Welsh away, and they did. And they did in quite a methodical fashion. Sanchez's kicking has been really, really good this week. He's really stepped up from his rustiness from last week, and he's put his kicking boots back on. In terms of discipline, Argentina has improved a bit. However, there is still a lot of rustiness in the Argentinian team. There's quite a bit of handling errors when they're attacking, and Argentina seems to really want to, when they do attack with a good set piece, they really look good. However, they tend to stick to the strategy, which is to take the points whenever it's on offer, for Sanchez to build on that lead with his kicking. So let's have a look at some stats from the game. 3 tries to 1 for Argentina this game. Run meters, Argentina having 286 meters to Wales 349. As I mentioned, the Welsh team were not afraid to attack, whereas Argentina was very interested in territory, very interested in taking 3 points when it's on offer. So the run meters, despite having more tries, is much lower from Argentina. Carries, 103 carries to 77 for Wales. 13 defenders beaten for Argentina, 10 for Wales. 2 clean breaks, 1 for Wales. 120 passes for Argentina, 129 for Wales. 13 offloads and 0 for Wales. So Wales did not take any risks, whereas Argentina did try to spin the ball a little bit and try to get themselves into loose space. Turnovers conceded during the attack, 12 for Argentina, 17 for Wales. So the Argentinian forwards has done really well in the breakdowns to really, stop the Welsh advances. Now looking at defense, 102 tackles made, 10 missed tackles. That is actually really, really good for Argentina. That is impressive. That is 90%, a little bit above 90%. Pretty good effort. Very good defense. Welsh did even better. 133 tackles, 13 missed tackles. That is more than 90%. That is an international tier 1 level defense. So Wales did really, really good. 6 turnovers for Argentina in defense, 5 for Wales. Kicking, 42 kicks in play to 26 in Wales. So Argentina really wanted to kick those territories. This is Eddie Jones England level numbers of kicking numbers. Not anymore actually. It's 6 Nations these days. You see this kind of kicking numbers, but this is very much like an Eddie Jones strategy here. Conversions, 3 out of 3 for Argentina, 1-0 for Wales. 2 missed penalty goals for Argentina, 2 penalty kicks for Wales. So this is a much better improvement for Sanchez, but there's still chance to improve a little bit more. 1 drop goal Sanchez attempted, and he missed that one. 2 rucks lost for Argentina out of 82. 3 lost for Wales out of 63. 2 mauls for Argentina, 1 for Wales. Lineouts, 10 out of 10. Perfect lineouts display for Argentina. Wales had 1 lineout stolen. Scrums, again, perfect scrums. Wales, it says perfect here, but Argentina did manage to squeeze out a couple penalties against Wales in their own feet. So that number does not come up against the Wales here. I think that comes under discipline, I guess. Discipline, 7 penalties conceded, much better for Argentina. 13 conceded for Wales, and 1 yellow card for Wales for a high challenge. So this could have been a red card. This was quite dangerous. A player was taken out in the air, but the referee went a little bit soft here. But anyway, let's go through the breakdown for the game, the recap for the full game. So Argentina-Wales started off kind of back and forward. 4 minutes into the game, Argentina managed to get himself in the front foot inside the Welsh half. The big number 8 from the Argentina takes a nice run. He was got man of the match. Gets the Argentina well inside the Welsh half, inside the Welsh 22 near the sideline. And one of the Welsh players was caught offside, and Argentina had a first chance to kick for 3 points. Now this wasn't a far kick, but this was on an angle. So this was about 10 meters in from the sideline. Sanchez takes a kick and he misses the first kick. It was a little bit disappointing. Argentina really would like that to go over, especially for Sanchez. He really wanted to lift. Yeah, he really needed to lift after this miss, which he did do. So about 5 minutes and 30 seconds into this game, bit of worrying sight. Sanchez runs in and gets his head smacked against the chest of one of the Welsh defenders. He looked like he gets knocked out. It looked like they're going to bring on Miotti. But he gets up, shook it off, played on. I think the way Argentina plays, Sanchez is basically the entire strategy is revolved around. So having him getting a head knock to be taken off was really out of question. I did think that this will be a great opportunity to run Miotti because he's actually not that bad of a kicker. He is not great, but he can definitely improve. And he's not bad as a 5A in terms of running with the ball. So I thought it would be a good opportunity, but Argentina really wanted to keep building on their strategy with Sanchez. He gets back up, so he didn't even go off for HRA. 8 minutes into the game, Wales gets the first try against Argentina. So Wales gets inside the Argentina half, putting on a bit of pressure. Santiago Carreras misses a tackle, and Jonathan Davis is able to find some space and slips through. This was outside of... This all started just inside Wales 50. So they had quite a bit of distance to work with. The Wales, I think it was Davis, makes a good some distance, and he finds himself the offload to number 14, Owen Lang, who runs down the sideline and gets tackled just before the line. It was almost like an ankle tap. He kind of gets back up a little bit, he wasn't held, kind of almost did like the worm, launched himself a little bit forward and puts it down for the try. 5-0 for Wales. First points on the ball against Argentina. 2 minutes later, Wales misses a conversion on this one, so they weren't able to convert this one. 2 minutes later, Argentina strikes back. Argentina number 11. Let's get his name. Moroni gets... basically, Argentina were crashing the line, getting really close to the Welsh after the kickoff, managed to recover and being able to pile a lot of pressure on the Welsh team. There was a lot of short ball run, short ball crash. Eventually, the short ball went to number 11, Moroni, who ran like a forward, crashes through for what Argentina try. And Sanchez steps up, gets this conversion, 5 points to 7. Argentina gets in front. There was a lot of pressure on the set pieces against Wales for the next about 10-15 minutes. There was a scrum penalty against Wales. Eventually, at 25th minute, Argentina were able to give them another 3 points on the board. I think it might be from this scrum penalty. Sanchez kicks this one. 3 points, another 3 points on the board. Argentina pulls ahead 10 points to 5, 25 minutes into the game. On the 26th minute, there was a Brilliant bit of individual play from Argentina. Moroni, once again, he got the ball. Argentina was trying to get the ball out of their own half, basically. Moroni got the ball on the wing. He makes a run. He sees he's getting pushed, like pressured out towards the sideline. He grabber kicks the ball through. The ball rolls into the Welsh half, getting close to the 22-meter line. Moroni sprints down the sideline, tracking the ball, right? Instead of there was like more Welsh players coming up. A fullback comes up to try to tackle him. He kicks the ball like soccer style in field to another Welsh player that was coming in. I think this was a Welsh fullback there who gets the ball. And as the Welsh fullback tries to kick the ball out, he sprints up, makes a tackle, and knocks the ball on from the Welsh player. This was absolutely brilliant play from Moroni. Just like football skills, soccer skills displayed, kicking the ball in from the wing. And to make that effort to get to number 15, to tackle him, the Welsh number 15, before he was able to make the clearance kick was absolutely spectacular. And so then this led to a Argentina scrum. And sure enough, the scrum goes down. There was just fast, quick ball from Argentina. Crash ball. 4 phases later, Kubeli, peek and go, try. Instead of, Kubeli does this one-off pass, crash balls. He sees the gap in front of himself, just goes himself, try. 17 points to 15. Sanchez converts this one. Argentina gets themselves back in front. Not back in front, further ahead, rather. So that was all set up by Moroni's individual performance from the wing. 30th minute, the Wales... so after this kick, Wales gets the kickoff. The Argentina were trying to clearance the ball out from the kickoff, and it gets charged down. And Argentina ended up trying to run the ball out of their own half after being charged down, but the Wales did really well, managed to force a penalty just in front, and Wales kicks themselves 3 points, pulled themselves back 8 points to 17. So the game carried on for about another 9 minutes or so. A lot of back and forward, pretty scrappy from both teams. Argentina really looked like they didn't want to play the ball inside their own half at all. Happy to kick the ball to the Welsh team and let them do the job. And eventually at 39th minute, Argentina were attacking once again, barely inside the Welsh 50-meter, and Sanchez gets the ball, puts in a drop goal. This drop goal looked like they were... It specifically looked like they're practicing for a situation like this. He was almost 50 meters out, and he had the distance, but he didn't get the accuracy. So this was something that I can see that Argentina do in the Rugby Championship, and it definitely looked like this was a practice, essentially, for a future situation. So 39th minute drop goal, no go. And that's the way the halftime ended. 8 points to Wales, 17 points to Argentina. So second half starts a bit quiet. For about 10 minutes in the second half, no one were able to break the defense. On the 50th minute, there was a lot of small mistake by both teams. On the 50th minute, Argentina was looked like they're getting a bit tired. And there was a penalty at the breakdown just inside the Argentina half. 35 meters out, right in the middle. And Wales goes, yep, we'll take 3. Slots of 3 points. Wales pulls himself back another 3 points, 11 points and 17, within 1 try striking range. And then the game got a bit sloppy, got even more sloppier for both teams for the next few minutes or so. Apparently it's really hot out there in Wales. Eventually, on the 55 minutes in, there is another scrum for Argentina, 24 meters out. Is this? Yeah. There was a scrum for Argentina, 24 meters out. And the ball comes out. Argentina runs the ball. This was just outside the Wales 22. Argentina runs the ball. Welsh team gets caught offside. Almost identical position to the Welsh penalty received just before this one, but on the Argentina side. So Argentina says, we'll take the 3 as well. Sanchez takes a kick, 20 points to 11. A few minutes later, on the 59th minute, there was a high ball. Again, the kicking game from Wales. From Wales. The number 15 chases from Wales. The Argentina number 9, Kubeli. Let's get the names for number 15. Actually, I should probably mention them. Halam Amos. He runs up to the high kick, and Carreras was making the catch. And as Amos was getting close to Carrera, Kubeli turns his back and just gets himself in front of Amos. And Amos kind of like bumps Carreras a little bit bumps Amos a little bit as Carrera is in the air. So Amos kind of get bumped, and then he runs into Carreras he was in the air. He takes him out in the air. It was pretty brutal. Carreras was vertical, and he was like 1.5 meters off the ground, and he fell sideways. He didn't land on his head, luckily, or didn't hurt himself, but this should have been a red card. But the referees had a look. They said that Kubeli got in the way. That affected Amos, and therefore Amos taking out Carreras was not a red card, but only a yellow. I thought that was pretty poor because Amos, sure, Kubeli got in front of him, but Amos still could have stopped and not made the tackle. It's just that simple. Not taking the player out. He made the decision to take the player out instead of just like step back or even jumped up for challenging the ball. He didn't do any of those. It still should be a red card, and it was pretty like dangerous. And the fact that Carreras didn't land on his head wasn't because it wasn't a dangerous tackle. He didn't land on his head because Carreras like protected himself with his hand to prevent himself from hitting the head. So so basically the referee saying that if Carreras hadn't planted his hands down to protect himself, that could have been a red card, and landed on his head, it could have been a red card. It was a pretty poor decision by the referee. But anyway, that was not red card. Welsh escaped that, but still a yellow card. And Argentina were able to get a penalty just inside the Welsh 40 on the back end of this. So yeah, this was a bit of a double whammy. So the Argentina decided to take the advantage with one player in the bin. Instead, this was a kickable range. Instead of taking the kick, they decided to go for a line out with a 22-meter line out. They tried to attack, but they were not able to go anywhere for this one. Eventually, Wales were able to turn the ball over and get themselves out of trouble. So this was a really good defense by Wales, despite having one person in the bin on the 59th minute. On the 64th minute, on the 54th minute, there was a what happened here? Okay, on the 64th minute, so Argentina, there was a lot of, again, kicking in the midfield. There was a bit of an aerial tennis. Argentina fullback, Carreras gets the ball. He puts a high ball back, and he gets like taken out a bit late. And Argentina gets another penalty just inside the Wales half around the 40-meter line. And following that, heroic defense from the Welsh team, Argentina decided to not, despite still having one player advantage, decided to just take the 3. So Argentina managed to slot this. Sanchez managed to slot this one managed to slot this one. This wasn't too far away, actually, not on 40. This one was like just outside the Welsh 22, 15 meters in. So he managed to slot this one quite easily. 23 points to 11, 64 minutes. At the 71st minute, there was in the 55 meters out in the middle, Argentina receives another penalty. The Welsh just really started to let the penalties go towards the end of the second half. This was a 55-meter penalty, really at the stretching for bit of stretch for Sanchez, but they opted anyway. And it looked almost like Argentina has this strategy where they want to, and they're just sticking to it. Despite the fact that there's probably better opportunities to go for a line out, they really just wanted the kick, and they really want Sanchez to work on his kick, it looked like. So, and even the commentators were saying they're just trying to run down the clock here. But anyway, it was in the middle, but Sanchez hit the post. It was a nice strike, hit the post, had the distance, didn't get the points. On the 74th minute, there was another Argentina were inside the Welsh 40-meter line, and there was a massive scrum where Argentina managed to squeeze out a scrum penalty against the Welsh. 40 meters out, 50 meter in, Sanchez slots this one again, 26 points to 11. He really starting to look good with his kicking, starting to feel more confident. On the 77th minute, Argentina finally got another penalty. Again, this is a kicking position in just outside, in around the 30 meter out. But Argentina thought, okay, we might go for a try here since it's only about a few minutes left, and you know we've already got enough ahead to not lose the game anymore. So they opted for a line out. And again, this was just parting up error of Wales's own error that Argentina really didn't have to do much for this to get to this position for the penalty. It was just piggybacking off Wales' mistakes to get themselves here. So Argentina kicks the ball out for a 5-meter line out. The ball comes in for a maul. The maul didn't go anywhere. The Welsh were able to stop it. So Argentina started to crash the ball. 1-0 pass, crash ball, 1-0 pass, crash ball. 3 crash balls later, Materas comes in on a really nice angle for another crash ball. Not Sanchez, Kubeli, I think he was, or maybe someone else. Anyway, Kubeli pops the ball to Sanchez, to Matera, who crashes through the defense, goes under the sticks for try, and Materas is just like screaming at this point. The ball was like left on the ground. He soccer kicks the ball into the stadium, screaming. He was so pumped for this try. There was a really nice, really beautiful angle from Materas to score this one, and Sanchez slots this one, and 33 points to 11. That is how the game finished up for Argentina. Much easier win for Argentina than last week, where they really struggled with one player in the bin. And it looks like to me Argentina really has a really clear strategy of kicking, and they have a really clear game plan around Sanchez kicking points. And this game really showed, even at times where they probably should go for a lineouts, should have gone for set pieces to work on the set pieces, they really didn't want to do that. Maybe it's because they don't want to reveal too much of their strategy going into the Rugby Championship coming up in about a month. Maybe it's that, but I still feel like this would have been a great opportunity for them to work on their set pieces instead of just kicking every opportunity they had for points. So anyway, let me know what you think about this game, guys. If you watched it, maybe you can watch the highlights and let me know what you think. But thank you for watching this video, guys. I'll see you guys later. Cheers.